Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday live stream. This is Sunday Live number 43. And in this live stream, I'm going to talk about some updates and also take any questions anybody has, and also share a little bit of what we're doing on the YouTube member area. Today, I'm also going to talk a little bit about some jazz history, just kind of lightly and briefly. So I was in the car and riding along, and I heard recording of My One and Only Love, and recorded by John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that album. It's really pretty great album, I think. All right, so My One and Only Love, maybe I'll just kind of noodle around on that a little bit, and maybe I'll share my camera angles a little here. It makes some improvement to those, I think. I think it's an improvement. Just gotta kind of play through the chords. really beautiful changes. So one thing as soon as I heard it, I pretty much thought I'm going to have to talk about this week, do an analysis and do some chord changes and various things on it, and just kind of talk about it. It's my favorite moments harmonically. Really like this change. I'll share my camera angles again here. So let's say D minor 9 to G13. And then you're kind of raising that root note up. So you might think of this as a diminished chord, G sharp diminished, or you could think of it kind of in terms of E7 over G sharp, and then with a flat 9 on it. And then you get kind of a 5 of the 6th chord, but you're kind of over that G sharp. I really like that moment in the tune. Well, thanks, Jason L. Appreciate your comment. And John, you're welcome. Thanks for attending again. This is really fun. I always look forward to the Sunday live stream, Sunday afternoon, at least where I am. All right. So I am streaming live. So I've been doing a lot of kind of experimenting, over time with different things. And live video is kind of one of my favorite things to do. I always enjoy playing live, which has been a lot of fun. So it's sort of natural, I think, to do the online live thing. It's definitely a different kind of feel, but it's a lot of fun. And so I'm streaming to YouTube, which I've been doing for a pretty long time now, and also Facebook today. And a little bit of a new development. I'm streaming on live on podcast too. So I don't know if that shows up in iTunes or various places. I know the episode, so I'll probably publish it as an episode, but I'm not sure how the live works, but we'll see. I'll have to see how that goes. So I'll share some things and some little tips and all that. So let me show you a little bit of what we've been working on in the YouTube member area, where we're doing a pretty much daily weekday activities. So I've been working on this format, and one of my real big goals is teaching voice leading for single line improvisation or melody, and also naturally for kind of chord changes and stuff. So we've been working on drop 3 type voicings for Alone Together, and looking at some of the voice leading kind of things, kind of moving from chord to chord. So here's 7 flat 5 going to B flat 7 sharp 11, or B minor 7 flat 5 headed to E half diminished. So so one thing that we've been doing is describing a bit of how each thing kind of moves. And so you can take a string and think of it as a voice or like an individual. And so this moves down right to here. So we've been talking about that. Okay, that sort of has that little change. This note remains the same. This note on this string, or this voice, heads down. And this one heads down as well. So we've been kind of discussing that. And this is kind of a cool thing because you could say, play like that, and then, right? So if you're playing in a group and you want to drop the low note, you kind of, right, maybe play like that. Or if you're, to take it a little bit of a step further, if you're maybe trying to do chord solo kinds of things, maybe take, or just comping in general, you take this very low note, bump it up 2 octaves, and then you get a drop 2 type of voicing. So then you say, okay, 2, like that. So we went through, I think, pretty much every change from the tune, but that's just a little bit of a kind of thing that you can do in general. So if you maybe already have some of that knowledge, that's a concept you can kind of run with there. So one of the kind of cool things about that, so if you have, let's say in this case, a root position, drop 3 type voicing, and then a second inversion, drop 3 type voicing, right? What that does for you is it places these tones of the 3 and the 7 respectively on strings 3 and 4, middle 2 strings. So if you do third inversion like this, it also accomplishes kind of the same thing. And first inversion, right? So those can be really strong ways of working on playing chords and that kind of thing, and playing changes. So Alone Together, which is the tune that we're kind of doing that example on, has some pretty cool features. So it plays around with the major and minor and the parallel, major and minor. So we start on, let's say, a D minor 6 kind of chord, and we have all those things that we kind of typically hear with that sound. And then kind of hear this tone out of this chord, the B minor. So that's a major third or a major 10 above our tonic note, right? So that kind of, you might say, it kind of foreshadows a little bit of what's to come. Relative major. So it's a nice aural effect, to kind of to hear all of that. So I'm just visiting some kind of moments of chord changes in the tune there. So that's just kind of a neat dynamic, and I think I've been talking a little bit about modes in the last couple Sunday live streams. So I think to really kind of hear the modes. Try practicing them in the kind of a parallel sort of way. So you might say, okay, that's sort of D major, okay. The D Lydian, D minor, or D Dorian. Right, D melodic minor. Oh, happy Halloween. That was, one of the first things I was thinking about. I'm glad you wrote that in. That was one of the first things I was going to say when I joined the live stream, and I completely forgot. Yeah, happy Halloween. All right. Happy Halloween. Yeah. So anybody have any plans for Halloween? We had a family kind of get together yesterday or last night. That was a lot of fun. A little fire going and treats and goodies and things for the kids. And I'm gonna do a little trick or treating after this live stream. Maybe not right after, but maybe in a couple hours. All right, so we talk a little bit about Johnny Hartman and John Coltrane. I'm going to bring up this album page on Wikipedia, and if you do get on Wikipedia from time to time, consider donating to them. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I have donated to them myself in the past, and they're worth supporting. So I guess their emails, and so it's a really good resource. So anyhow, all right, Johnny Hartman and John Coltrane. I was reading a little bit about this as I was preparing for today's talk, and so it's saying that they knew each other from the early days playing with the Dizzy Gillespie's band, or with Dizzy Gillespie's band in the late 1940s, and I don't think they were there at the same time. It looks like they did. It says might have heard Hartman sing. Okay, so that's maybe a little bit uncertain, but anyway, if you haven't heard Johnny Hartman, I'd highly recommend listening to him on just about anything. He has just a very rich sounding voice. It's really beautiful. One of the recordings that I really enjoy is his performance on Lush Life, and that's one I believe is on this album. you can take a look at the song list, but it's really incredible. It's such a well, that's such a great composition for one thing, but the performance is amazing too. So pairing that up is just just really incredible. Okay, yeah. So Lush Life, number 4 on the tune. Um, it's a really great one. And then My One and Only Love. So folks, on that recording, let's see if we can open a little bit on Johnny Hartman here. Born in Louisiana, raised in Chicago, singing and playing piano. One thing that struck me too, just listening to it, I was really enjoying the tone of the bass, and noticing too how a lot of those notes they don't or they decay fairly quickly. And I was not sure I had noticed that before, but I really love the tone and I was really enjoying it. So I was listening earlier, and that is Jimmy Garrison, who was I think pretty much a regular kind of on the scene and played with Coltrane a lot. And then Elvin Jones. I think a lot of folks are familiar with him. So not in this particular recording, but it's known for like real high intensity kind of playing. And McCoy Tyner. Incredible pianist. I did get the chance to see him once in DC, which was really amazing. Oh yeah, so, Cyan. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Not much celebrating. Yeah, I kind of like the October spirit too. I'm glad you could catch it live. I appreciate you tuning in and your comments. So just a couple of things that I've been doing on the channel, a couple of plans. So I'm planning to do a video pretty similar to the one I did on Girl Talk. Planning to do a video on Alone Together. So I'm kind of throwing around the idea of maybe doing a melody only and then one that's chord melody, or maybe just one that's chord melody. I haven't really decided. But let me know what your thoughts and opinions are about that. So those play along type of videos seem to be doing pretty well. So I think folks are getting a lot of value on that. I have also been thinking about doing just a solo, maybe playing the melody too, and releasing that on the channel. But we'll see how it goes. I should have a little more time this week than I have had in the last couple of weeks. So that's pretty exciting. And the tune's really enjoyable. Maybe we'll talk about the B section here a little bit. So it goes, I believe, to like a 2/5 in G minor, and then the minor 7 flat 5 to C7 or C7 flat 9 to the relative major. So that's a pretty cool change, which helps to kind of differentiate, because it lands on the 2 chord or the 4 chord. Really, it's not really the minor 4 in D minor. But that could just have become, a 2-5 to the flat 3, but it's really strong. I think changing that over to sort of the minor or altered kind of 2-5, you might say, and then going to major. That's like kind of a general nice effect. Cyan says, nice phrasing, man. I thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, would love more videos on standards. I've been really getting into gypsy jazz lately. Are you into Django much? Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing a little bit too. Doing some more standards, and especially since I've been putting so much time, I think, into the member area. I've been kind of leaning towards doing those kinds of tunes in general, but I do want to do some kind of fusion type tunes as well. Keep those going too. Yeah, I love Django for sure. Maybe I should do like a tune like minor swing or something, or nuage. Cyan says that minor 7 flat 5 voicing you did is a great one. End up using it for minor 6. Yeah, that's a really good point. Maybe I'll talk about that in just a minute. I'm gonna check on another comment here. Telly Jazz Christopher DaCosta says, Jim, I am located in Jefferson, Maryland. I heard you have a guitar studio near where you are. I have some friends in Jefferson, Maryland, family friends. So I'm probably an hour and a half away from you. Maybe an hour and 10 minutes, depending on traffic. But and when you go, of course. But I'm in Carroll County, sort of northern Carroll County, near the Baltimore line. Yeah, so Cyan mentioned earlier, I'll talk about it a little bit too. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing names. It's not a strong point of mine, but so if you had a chord like a D minor 6, I think I may have played this earlier. That kind of looks like the first inversion of the B minor 7 flat 5, so which is kind of cool. So you can play, it's like they were saying, any inversion of, say, B minor 7 flat 5 for D minor. Let me see if I can get the bass thing going here. At the risk, I'm gonna make sure it's turned down a little bit because I didn't test this before starting today. I don't want to blast anyone's ears. All right, hopefully you can kind of hear that. A little sample of a bass there. So I'm playing D. I have D going here. Low, very low D there. So if you play any minor 6 chords or inversions. Then you get, kind of the minor 6 kind of sound. Yeah, and Christopher's. Occasionally, I go out to Jefferson, Maryland. So I'm gonna connect. Send me an email. I think there's. I don't have any plans to go out there too soon, but I think there's an email address in the description. And I've played at a vineyard out there called Big Cork, which is not in Jefferson, but not very far from Jefferson. Played there quite a few times. Played there with a singer-songwriter quite a number of times, and then played there with a rhythm section or a small segment of a big band that I play with. I'd love to play there again. That's really cool. It's a really cool spot. All right. So another thing I've been kind of playing around with lately is something I think I've mentioned a few times, which is the Jerry Bergonzi has a series of books on, I think it's advanced music, and really, really, really nice collection of material. Highly recommend it. So kind of talking about some of the and melodic structures. So he's got these kinds of things, and you can alter them. So he's got like kind of a minor sort of melodic structure he talks about, and then a major kind of melodic structure that he talks about, and then you can apply, you can alter them so you get like a flat 9 on some things. So you could kind of play these lines like, and then goes into permutations of it or different note orders, and then also inversions. So this is pretty cool. And then for, like, we're talking about minor 7 flat 5, you might just take the minor melodic structure and just lower that 5th, right? So you could play like a line like so if we're playing like a 1, 6, 2, 5. Oh, Christopher, great. I'm glad. Thanks. I'll look forward to hearing from you. So one thing that we did just yesterday, kind of a 90-minute workshop that I'm doing, where we talk about, well, we did a lot on subdivisions for about 30, 45 minutes. But another thing that we did was talk about kind of picking, not picking. So you could think about that and maybe two contact points. So we went through all these different kind of combinations of that. Maybe I'll share a little bit on that if I could find it here. But that's really kind of I think a pretty cool thing to try to do to vary your volume and all that sort of like deciding to pick or deciding not to pick and just sort of having that control. So we're trying to merge some of these melodic structures with the with some articulations and various things. See if I can come up with a little sample on that. So here's a little bit of a kind of what I was just doing on like number 1, and so number 2. And the last one will be so. And then 2, of course. Kind of 2 contact points and 3. So that workshop is kind of an intensive sort of thing for about 90 minutes live stream, and then it's available for replay. Another question here. What are your thoughts on finger picking? I tend to use my fingers when playing, but the pick does get louder and clearer notes. Yeah, I do both. So yeah, there are advantages and disadvantages to both. And you could do hybrid picking. Um as well. Oh, let me it's not really wasn't my intended view there. So actually recently, and I don't know if I'll continue this always, but recently when I first play the instrument in the morning, and just do some warm-ups, I kind of tend to do just finger picking, no pick. I kind of like it. I feel like both hands are sort of in contact with the string, so that kind of feels good. It feels sort of connected with the instrument. So this is one thing that I've kind of been working on just a little bit. I've mentioned this on the live stream before, but thumb down, finger up. I first got this idea, I think, from watching um, John Scofield, because it looked to me like he was doing that. But it's also kind of like single string way to play it, kind of like sort of like a ukulele style or Hawaiian style with kind of thumb down, finger up strumming. So a lot of times when I have a guitar student who's like really resistant to the pick, which I was pretty resistant to the pick early on too. I'll just say, okay, strum down with the thumb and up with the finger like that. And then that's a good entry point, I think. But studying classical guitar or even jazz guitar, like Joe Pass and um, Martin Taylor, and just kind of thinking about thumb down and 3 fingers on 3 adjacent strings. You know, so it's a nice Nice sound. Nice thing too is you can really get the fingers. You can get the notes to sound all pretty much at the same time, which has its own kind of sound to it. And the pick, and this is kind of not a good or bad thing, I don't think, but you have one contact point, so it's gonna separate somewhat. I mean, you can hardly notice it sometimes, but you know. But there are a lot of different things you could do, with a pick. They use the pointy end. That gives a little bit of a thinner sound. You can use the rounded end, which I tend to do a lot, which I believe Matheny does that a lot. I think he actually bends the pick like with two fingers, something like that. I'm not sure, but that's what I think he said himself in a couple interviews. So the finger picking, what's kind of cool about that is you can kind of get multiple voices going. So you can maybe have a bass part, a melody part, maybe like a chord part, so you can really get some separation. Another thing that's kind of nice too about finger picking, I find, is you could also uh, control the strings a little bit. Maybe better. I don't know. Maybe just because it's sort of on it. So a lot of times I'll just take the side of the thumb, and that'll help me prevent unwanted open strings. So you can also kind of run bass lines and stuff like that with finger picking, which is pretty cool. So in general, I would say to develop both, especially if you plan to play like a variety of music. You know, um, I have known a couple of guitarists who play exclusively with finger picking. So yeah, I think the speed thing, yeah, I mean it can be accomplished. Trouble with finger picking. So another comment here. So there are so many techniques. Do thumb, middle, second, index. Okay, because I find the thumb and index is only a bit tougher for me. Yeah, to build speed. Yeah. Um, yeah, each one has its kind of advantages and disadvantages. Um, thumb, index, second, middle. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so there are kind of a few techniques. You can also kind of get the arpeggiated sound like that or like that all together. So that's kind of cool. So there's also picking, which I think I probably was doing a little bit earlier. So you can kind of walk the fingers a little bit. Just kind of moving back. One thing that like Lenny Bro would kind of do is like I'm probably not doing exactly like he would, but it's kind of a classical sort of thing where you know kind of get one string going either with two fingers or maybe three fingers, and then use the thumb. That. All right, everybody. Really appreciate all your comments and questions. So it's really really awesome and really helpful for me as I do this. It helps to guide where I'm going. So let me just check in on uh, Facebook here real quick, and I've got some. Looks like the podcast got some um, comments here. Cool. Glad to hear you like improv. And yeah, so this is yeah basically music lessons, things like that. The live stream is kind of a fairly casual talk, but I try to give some tips. It's not necessarily like a formal lesson, but yeah, I try to talk about what I'm thinking about, and talk about what other folks are thinking about. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for checking this out. And if you want to um, help support the channel, consider the YouTube member area. I have a um, member updates, or what's called, I think it's called exclusive updates. It's only $2 per month that you can help to support the channel at a pretty minimal cost. And I do like 5 videos a week just on updates and talking about what I'm doing. Um, and uh, and then of course there are other levels with more intensive types of studies. So overview and analysis. I do 5 live streams per week, and we analyze tunes and go over people's playing and talk about chord scales and stuff like that. Practice ideas and concepts. We have specific practice material and videos for folks to do. That's like a 20-minute, 5 days a week video. And then I've got a new one out that is called improvisation topics, and there I'm doing a 90-minute kind of intensive workshop on Saturday afternoons live, and so that's pretty cool. And I've been live streaming pretty much daily on that one as well. And thinking about, I kind of want to add one more, but I have to really assess how much time I can invest. But I want to do a purely music theory, jazz theory, and incorporate some ear training. So keep an eye out for that too. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for checking this video out, and I'll see you all next week. And keep an eye out for another video coming out midweek on Alone Together. Thanks.